So hi everybody, I'm Dawid Lijewski. I'm new one in Berlin. I came from Poland, in Bydgoszcz. I'm a graduate student of Wrocław Technology University. I'm studying computer science. I'm engineering information and communication technology. I don't know how to translate it right, but in Polish it's teleinformatyka. And I saw even translations like teleinformatics. So it's something like that. Yeah, that's me. That's a picture of me. Bydgoszcz is here. This is my home city. I moved to Berlin at the end of the August, so it's not far away. Bydgoszcz is 500,000 city, so it's quite big. I fell in love to Berlin at first sight. It's awesome city. In my opinion, the people create the city, so people here are awesome. A lot of events, a lot of meetups. It's very easy to meet people with similar hobbies and skills like me. So in one sentence, Berlin is awesome. Few words about my work. I'm a Java maniac. I have some experience in C++, so my roots are deep into objective-oriented programming. I have experience and skills in IP networks, so internet have no mysteries behind me. I can find anybody and anywhere on internet, so nobody can hide from me. Yeah, I look at programming languages, frameworks, like just only tools in my hand, like hammer on nail in hand of carpenter. I feel no hip, no hype about anything. I'm not bound to something, to some framework. I only feel hip toward subs cars are awesome. Yeah, Swedish motor are best. So, modern mobiles are so fast. That's why we meet here. That's why we learn and train our HTML5 skills. HD gaming are very popular on mobile phones, these small devices. This is something what was unimaginable 10 years ago when I started my somehow professional adventure with computers. I started, installing operating system. That's big first step in world of computers when you have only 12 years old. So when I thought about that progress in computer technology, I thought about Blitzkrieg game. I was a big fan of this game 10 years ago on AMD Duron 850 megahertz and 256 megabytes of RAM, and it was, awesome game. Anybody played Blitzkrieg before? So this is Blitzkrieg. This is real-time strategy game set up in World War II. Yes, this is tanks, German tanks, Russian tanks, Soviet tanks, sorry. So yeah, this is awesome game, like Sudden Strike or Company of Heroes. Back in these days, Company of Heroes was, only in dreams. So I thought, well, we have so powerful and awesome mobile phones, so powerful tablets. Why don't, develop this game in HTML5? It could be awesome to play in Facebook and, share your progress in conquering Soviet Union with your friends. So that's how Blitzkrieg works. It's combined 2D and 3D technology. We have two-dimensional isometric canvas terrain, pane. Yeah, on top of this canvas terrain stuff, we have two-dimensional buildings, simple sprites, simple flora sprites like trees, bushes, and stuff. But units like tanks, artillery, armored cars, trucks, and stuff are 3D models made, if I not wrong, in Collada. They are 3D models with textures, so effect look like that. This is 3D models moving on two-dimensional canvas. So few words, what is the isometry? Because maybe isometry is maybe not everybody know here what means isometry. So, time for boring math. Isometry is let x and y be... Okay, I don't want to read all this stuff. So yeah, this is some mathematical tricks. But that's how we work in reality. We have two-dimensional representation of directions of world, yes, north, east, west, south, and after rotating it in 22, we have somehow illusion of 3 dimensions in the two-dimensional world techniques. So we have this is some isometric angle problem, because this is pixels, yes. Here we have at the top left, we have 90 degrees straight line. Then we have 45 degrees straight line. But ideal square with proportions of 2 to 1 in, I don't know how it's in English, but this inner lines in the square, how it's called in English. Yeah, exactly, axis. Sorry. In 30 degrees we have very messy image. So good idea is to use 26.565 degrees line. So it looks very nice. We have these very nice squares. And another problem is for JavaScript and HTML5 stuff browsers, the rotating and transforming every square into this isometric tile is quite computer power consuming. So there is some trick to avoid that. We doesn't transform and rotate the tiles. We just create this sprites in this shape. So after this, the axis of each if each tile connect, so we have very attractive and lightweight solution to our problem of generating and rendering isometric terrain, for example. Yes. So this is code for drawing canvas. It's quite easy. It's the cornerstone of every isometric program game application. This is the example for isometric worlds. Diablo 2, another classic, another memories of nights spent in front of computer. Awesome game, you should play it. So if we have these 3D models and 2D terrain, so logical solution of logical way to develop the game should be WebGL framework. Yes, we could create awesome terrains, very, very nice graphics, but there is problem with WebGL. I think there is problem with security reasons and compatibility with browsers. And I'm not 3D modeler, I'm a backend guy. Maybe if you have a different opinion about that, let's share with me that now, before we move to another topic. So I tried classical two-dimensional, which apply with all standards, all browser standards nowadays. So I don't have problem with compatibility issues with different mobile phones, different browsers and stuff. So that's how I want to develop my application, two-dimensional. Only difference between the preview, the last model of Blitzkrieg, we just use the models of units, the tanks, artillery, and cars, as two-dimensional sprite, and we have to, just like in Age of Empire game, all these units are just sprites. There is nothing three-dimensional. So with using simple tools, simple solutions, they could develop this awesome game. I don't know, 15 years ago, 12, 13, something like that. Yes, and that's the how we can solve the way of animation of three-dimensional units. We just create the sprite sheet. Everybody know here what is sprite sheet. Yes, this is traveler. But we have to point what exactly is real-time strategy game. I think everybody here played Age of Empires, but get deeper into details. So real-time strategy game is subgenre of strategy video game which does not progress incrementally in turns. But in the reality of programming, there is no way of making non-incrementally calculations. Every calculations in digital computer side are made incrementally in turns somehow. It's called the game loop. In most engines, it's refreshed 60 times per second. 60 times per second, you refresh the state of application. So it's somehow there is some incrementally some turns in game, but for the end user experience, everything came smoothly. There is no turns, no need to wait. Yeah, this is some more basic explanation of RTS game. It's very important that in RTS game everything happens simultaneously. There is no. Everything happen now. So developing RTS game are more backend work, fun than front-end stuff. Graphics in RTS games are very simple. There is nothing awesome like in Crysis 3. Everything is simple and so in developing RTS game we have to focus on backend, on algorithm, and there is a lot of algorithm, a lot of bucket calculations in RTS game. For example, algorithm for site detection. When you get deeper into it, there is quite complex. It's quite complex calculation to detect if each units detect themselves. It's even getting more complex when we apply that to multiplayer game on when we try to develop the, I call it fair artificial intelligence algorithm. Pathfinding algorithm, that's big topic, very big topic, pathfinding algorithm and collision detection. Because in RTS games, all environment in game are very dynamic. So you can't just calculate the way for each units and leave that so units can go to that point, because the units interact with each other. Suddenly some unit can be destroyed, some unit can block the way. You can destroy the house, destroy the bridge. So you have to check the calculated route, calculated path actually every 60 times per second, every second. You can't let two units to stuck somewhere and because player won't play in games which stuck. Yes. Algorithm for shooting. There is a lot of ways how to solve it. For example, in 3D world we have raycasting. In 2D world we have make something similar. But there is problem for artillery units. Everybody know what is artillery, yeah? Big gun shoots, 2 seconds later hit and destroy building, yes? Destroying building is quite easy, but when you try to destroy moving tank, it's getting difficult because you can't develop this effect of this magnetic ball like in FIFA, all FIFA games, yes? Any play, and player shoot the ball and blow football ball like the homing missile, homing to the player which you set up, because artillery can miss, so you also have to check many times in the game loop about state of there is a lot of objects in real-time strategy games. Algorithm for game states, win-lose conditions. This is very logical stuff to discuss, so I don't want to bore you. Algorithm for unit constructions, unit auto actions informations. For example, when unit this is connected to site detection and detect enemy unit, it should start shooting. Nobody want to babysit every tank on the map. It's fun when you have 2 tanks, but when you have 200 tanks on the map, you can babysit every unit and shoot him. You want to. You want intelligent soldiers, not some, retards. Algorithm for artificial intelligence, that's a very big topic. And as I mentioned before, everything is dynamic. Everything is fluid, everything changes every second, every millisecond. So my way to develop RTS game is do it from scratch. I want to be this game very efficient. It must work in every browser, every old cell phone, even on this old 2.2 Android device. Because I don't have newer, so it must work on that. This is my test tool. Game must be efficient. Simple user interface. Players must be focused on tactics, on winning battles, not click fest like in StarCraft. I don't have nothing wrong against StarCraft, but I think it's click fest, not strategy game. I prefer to think when I play. Command these units, tanks to win the battles. And the graphics must be simple. And my destination in this way is to develop game for every platform, game designed for social networks, to share this progress in conquering different nations with your friends. It could be fun, purchasing new tanks, new upgrades for tanks and stuff, different difficult levels. So this game can't be fixed only to some niche players, some hardcore strategic players. I want, to. This game should be good as entry-level game for new players, and good as normal game for more hardcore players who want to kill some time, rainy evening. And battles must be huge, must be epic. There's no question about it. There must be 100 of units. So I had big problem with refreshing HTML5 canvas. So I do some research and I found that John Carmack, this famous software developer who designed a lot of awesome games like Doom, had this problem while he was developing the Commander Keen scroll game. Anybody heard about Commander Keen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you are pretty old. So, in order to implement this similar technique on very venerable 386 PCs, how fast that computer was, 30 megahertz. Today alarm clocks are faster than these computers back in time. So he developed adaptive tile refresh technique. So in order to implement similar technique, we need to get rid the set timeout and draw. We just need to add these few parameters and refresh the part of canvas, not whole canvas. And why I mention about that, because I noticed that a lot of developers struggle with this canvas refresh problem. In dynamic games, it could be quite resource hungry operation. So I'll show it. Maybe it solves somebody's others problems. Maybe it helps somebody. So this is my current progressing game. Unfortunately, I can't live code this game because I had a lot of problems with this game. This is Tiger Tank. This is some Russian house. His objective is to destroy this house. Russian house, yes. But I had a lot of problems now, and I hope that I can find here somebody, some people can help me, can contribute to this project. This could be some awesome game. So I have problems with frame rate and animations, especially when I put 50 tigers. It was too much for a browser, and games start to be laggy, and when games started to be laggy, then animations started to be out of order. So artificial intelligence, I even touched that, because honestly I have no idea how to put it in JavaScript. I know how to put it in Java, but in JavaScript some efficient artificial intelligence, it's too much for me. Multiple simultaneous changes in big canvas, all this artillery, shooting stuff. I don't know, maybe my algorithm was bad, so maybe my source code is not efficient. And I have complete stupid problem with shadow casting. My Firefox should me communicates that most box casting can be casted. I don't know why. I even copy-pasted some examples from Stack Overflow and nothing happened. No shadows here. And should be shadows. This is sprites. There should be shadows. It's kind of weird without shadows. As I mentioned, the graphics are from Blitzkrieg game. I imported from Blitzkrieg game. So just only for tests, for production code, I will develop my own Tiger tanks. So maybe there is time for different approach. Maybe I should use my Java experience and skills and redevelop our code with Google Web Toolkit. No, I think if in objects, in classes, and in JavaScript there is no classes, I was quite shocked. And maybe hardware acceleration of browsers. I don't know how to implement it. Or maybe somebody join to me and we can make this game together. It could be fun. Yeah. I think alone I can't do that. This is too big project. So yeah, this is my contact. Thanks for your attention. This is something. This is my sources. I should show it. So I don't want to. Thank you.
Questions?
Yep. Oh, questions. Yes.
It was a way to avoid that.
I have a question.
Oh.
How long have you been working on this project so far?
I was do some research, reading, testing different way to solve it. I even tried to develop this game in Google Earth plugin, but it's hopeless. It's impossible to interact with custom objects in Google Earth. So I was trying different approaches for almost 3 weeks, and developing phase took me 1 week to develop all this stuff. But I wasn't sitting 1 week, 12 hours each day, because now I started my cooperation with Karma Games, a young startup in Berlin, and they have very awesome ideas for games. You will hear about them because they started Kickstarter campaign. They have awesome ideas. So I work on this RTS game project in free time, after hours. So yeah, actually almost 1 month. Because,
so 1 month part-time, or if you add all the hours, it would be 1 month?
No, part-time,
Okay.
after
right.
hours. So I don't know how to put it together.
No, that's fine.
What more? Yeah, that's all 1 month. I tested even the isoorganic engine, but it's commercial, and it was quite hard to understand it. What the idea of the developers. I noticed that it's easy to create simple games, HTML5, some card games, some city building game, yeah. But when we came to more complex ideas, complex not in graphics but in backend, in idea, in game logic, then it starts to be messy. Maybe other questions?
About the shadows, I think like most common thing to do is to just put sort of a pre-rendered shadows and put them on a separate sprite underneath the other sprite.
Create extra sprites for every piece.
Yeah, for every shadow you want on a sprite, you put an extra sprite underneath that is just a shadow. That way you can put all the objects on sort of one layer and all the shadows on one layer.
Because I try to use this CSS stuff, this box casting stuff.
Don't do.
You saw the result.
You're drawing,
Thanks for advice. Yeah.
you're drawing all this on canvas, so it's
No, I didn't draw that.
no, HTML5 canvas. So
Yeah, all this stuff is made on Canvas, yes? Where is it? Yeah, and Canvas, yes?
did you try any frameworks? So
The Modernizer framework to use the touch features. And that's all. Node.js, it's normal to deploy application. And I even don't know what framework to use. I tried with isogenic engine, but it's commercial. It's quite.
so there's like Pixel.js, and well, what it does is like first place it tries to render WebGL, and then if that fails in Canvas. So I think WebGL should be faster at rendering, even if it's just isometric. And well, I guess Canvas should be faster than working with DOM elements and CSS shadow casting. But well, this will take care of more. And maybe I don't know. I don't think it's made for isometric views, so more like 2D side scrolling stuff. But you can maybe just fill something in.
Because, you know, guys 15 years ago, they doesn't have all this fancy stuff like us now, and they develop all this stuff with sprites only, and it works awesome on very old computers. So I think that was my idea to use only sprites on Canvas, because I want to be this game very lightweight, very fast.
How do you do the rendering? You said you're having like a game loop that re-renders every like 60 times per second?
I tried with game loop, but without successes, so I stick to this ATR technique, and when something happened, then change the part of canvas.
Yeah.
So it sounds great when you have some, I don't know, card game or some scroll game, but RTS game where you have hundreds of units or some effects, then it starts to be messy.
So maybe you're starting rendering way too often, and this is why it stutters.
Maybe
It's
yes.
lagging a bit behind, so it should more be like you're starting it every, let's say, 50 milliseconds, and well, but if it's running, you still wait, and if it's running, and you're not calculating in runs you're doing, but rather in time. So well, then it notices, okay, it took so much time, and since I've rendered for like 60 milliseconds, I should start the next rendering then. But take care that you don't keep it too busy, because well, then it's just rendering and maybe blocking the server.
Maybe this game should be quite small, only for, I don't know, 50 units at most, not more.
If it's on mobile, it should probably be controllable via mobile as well, so 15 units is still a lot for any small screen.
Because I played the Cold War game. We played this. This game is designed for tablets. You command tanks in the Cold War times. It's full 3D game, and it's very playable on tablets. This game have very nice user interface. These big labels on top of units. So just click on label and point your M1 Abrams tanks to attack somewhere on the map. So I was only quite inspired by that, to be game quite easy in controlling, but to be complex in maybe not gaming. Game idea must be easy, but to be players should think, not only clicking games. So, you know, maybe you note my mail address, send message to me, and maybe I could assemble some nice team. We could assemble some nice team and create that awesome game. I see here a lot of intelligence, a lot of passionate people, and I see everybody has some nice ideas, some different ideas.
I just want to recommend a book which can deal with most of the questions that you were asking. It's called Making Good Metrics, Social Real-Time Games. It's actually a graphic that you use. From
I read this.
Ah, okay.
But I noticed that in this book, that this book is very cool. I learned a lot from that. But there is no explaining of some more complex ideas like this, game loop, game states. I could develop some kind of SimCity, yes, gaming with advices from this book, but something more could be more difficult. I don't know.
And
Other ideas?
also, creation is really cool to make games. You might look into that.
I never heard about it.
It's kind of like it gives you a Flash-like interface for objects in your game. If you, for example, drops that you have with your refresh rate of the canvas, it's also solved by CreateJS. It's also using, like, if you have WebGL, it's using WebGL. If you don't have WebGL, it's going to render to the 2D canvas. And like, it solves a lot of problems. You don't really have to think about it. You just put everything in, and it feels like coding ActionScript really.
Sounds nice. And also I have this question, what about Google Web Toolkit? I wrote a lot and I saw mixed reactions, mixed opinions about that. Should I try with Google Web Toolkit or stick to HTML5 JavaScript? Anybody use the GWT? And what it's nice?
Well, it's a compiler language, right? So if we turn around, you have to wait a lot of time. Well, it's working out. I like it because I came from the Java scene. But if it's better for developing games, well, I don't know. In principle, I don't see any advantage. It's just another language. But I think maybe your problems are the same. You share those, and there's no solution for it.
Thanks. Any more questions?
Yes, you were talking about the draw method, and I'm talking about the draw method, and you said that it's not so good if you draw the entire canvas and every frame, of course. But how do you know which parts have changed? I mean, you also have to refresh the background.
Yes. There was a variable that and the parameter it was from transfer. No, it was like that. No. Yes, we have to pass the source X and source Y parameters, so parameters of the tile, this object, for example, tank, tree, house, will change, and then you have these X, Y coordinates of this canvas to change. Yeah?
Yes, but if you have several objects on top of each other,
so they instantly function every time. Refreshing its own part of the screen.
okay. So you have to start at the very bottom layer, but if the very bottom layer didn't change, or if you have
No, because when you have this this standard draw function, for every change in the canvas, you have to redraw all canvas from the scratch.
yes, I know, yeah.
So, with this ATR technique, you only refresh this part of canvas when something changed. For example, tank got hit, tank destroyed, tree obliterated, yes? You refresh the part of screen, it's part of canvas.
Do you redraw from the grass and then everything on top of it from all the way from the bottom up?
Yes.
For that little square.
Exactly. But there is not many layers to render. Actually, when you draw, generate all this map, yes, it doesn't have this layer of grass behind this building, but it's actually two-dimensional, yes, it's stick to that. There is no extra distinction. When house got destroyed, you reload this part of texture, load another texture, destroyed house. Same for tank, tree, and so on. So I think this is a good technique not only for RTS games, but for every game. You can save up resources, even in some simple hack game.
Did you implement this for your game? So I guess the function is
idea?
there, so the basic here is just like, don't render everything, just render the changes.
Yes.
Did you implement it fully to your needs, or is there...
I don't understand the performance.
Yeah. Do you still plan on implementing the function draw local scope, or did you already... I mean, it comes more from...
Yeah, it's implemented, yes.
Okay. Because I guess usually, well, from the classical approach, you have this like, either you have ray tracing or you have this, well, with polygons, you can trace which objects are behind, so, but then you need like a Z buffer to know which buffer. I mean, did you implement
this Z ordering, yes? Yes, it's all implemented, so there is no problem.
So you can always trace which objects are there and not just estimate.
Yes, when you refresh the style. Oh, it's easy math because it's just fresh from the the objects with coordination, Y coordination have priority over the